Good morning, student. For today's session of SAP. For today's session, we have a Nagraj sir with us. Sir, you can proceed with your class, sir.
Thank you so much, Kunal. Good morning.
Welcome, sir.
Very warm welcome to all the attendees. So, the past, maybe say, we concluded the session for the week. So, what were we trying to look at? We were trying to set the company code ready to accept the financial transactions. Since we are talking only from the finance perspective, so all these activities, what we saw, the new terminologies, what we saw, that is, what is a company code? What is a chart of accounts? What is a fiscal year variant? What is a posting period variant? What is a retained earnings account? So account groups, we will have a look at it. I don't remember having discussed this, but please do not worry. I will start today's session by giving you more insight into what is an account group or account groups. All right. So from the, what should I say, from the consultant's perspective, we were trying to build up the company code. So in our case, what is the company code that we will be working on? For all our practical requirements, we will be working on the company code GM01. So I'm not getting into what is a company code. I think by now, probably you should be or you may be comfortable with all these terminologies, but please do not hesitate. If you are still uncomfortable with understanding the meaning of this particular term, you can go ahead and ask. That should not be a problem at all. OK, now, so just to have a quick recap. So these were the topics which we discussed. And more importantly, when we were talking about the each and every component which comprises or which completes the fiscal, which completes the financial module in SAP. OK, so we were, as I said, we were trying to discuss the components, like say the company. Now, when we came down to the chart of accounts, what is a chart of accounts? It is nothing but a master list of all the general ledger accounts used by the business. Please make a note that whenever you are constructing the SAP product or whenever you're trying to implement SAP in Tata and Sons, you are going to create, or rather the consultant is going to create the chart of accounts, which is a general ledger account master list, which takes care of all these business entities under Tata and Sons. You do not create one chart of accounts for TCS, another chart of accounts for consumer business, another chart of accounts for the car business, another for the other businesses. No, you don't do it. A consultant gathers the requirement of the business in totality. All right, and then he goes about designing the master list of general ledger accounts. So, as far as a financial consultant's role is concerned, the first and the foremost and the very initial master data which is created by him is the chart of accounts. So I think probably when I was trying to explain the concept of the chart of accounts, I didn't make this point saying that this is the initial master data which is created by a financial consultant. Yeah. How this is done? Probably as a general discussion, we can take it up at the end of the session, but let us not spend more time as to how and what are the modalities of bringing in this chart of accounts. Because as I said, there was one project. We were supporting a huge telecom business, which was actually in Netherlands. So that business was spread across 23 or 24 countries. I think the 24th country was a new one, which we implemented. So how big was the general ledger accounts master data? It was as big as 7,000 plus general ledger accounts. So you could imagine the effort put in by the consultant to create all these general ledger accounts pertaining to the business of not only one geographical area, but all the geographical areas. Yeah. Now, the second component, what we discussed under the financial organizational data was the fiscal year variant. What does a fiscal year variant tell the system? The fiscal year variant tells the SAP system that this particular company code is using or following this financial year of the business. When does SAP understand this connection? Only when your company code is getting assigned to the fiscal year variant. So as far as the standards are concerned, I said 0001 is a standard company code. Standard company code in the sense which is there as a standard SAP product. So which is available in any of the SAP systems, which probably you may use when you get into the SAP environment. Okay. So similarly, we also have the INT, which is called as the International Chart of Accounts. Clear? This is called as International Chart of Accounts. So you remember what we did with this? We converted this into our Excel sheet, and we also have this chart of accounts as an Excel file also. Yeah, we saw this activity. Okay, don't worry if you haven't understood, not a problem. I will show it to you again, but only when the time permits. Okay. So now the fiscal year variant, as I said, again, do we have a standard? Yes. First, we need to understand what is the role of a fiscal year variant, which we already know. And as far as the standard SAP product is concerned, we have these two. K4, which indicates that the company code is using the calendar year. That is, the financial year starts in the month of January and the business closes its books of accounts in the month of December. Now, as far as V3 is concerned, what is the definition? What is the meaning of the definition? How is V3 defined in the SAP system? We saw that, right? So it indicates that April is the first month of transactions and March next year is your closing month of your financial year. Yeah. And we also saw somebody brought up a question as to how is the quarterly closure of accounts is handled. And this concept we discussed in something called as posting period variant. What is a variant? It is nothing but an entity which follows this. First and the foremost, it is defined in the SAP system. The second is this particular definition is provided with the relevant information, populating the variant with the relevant data. And the third and the most important thing is, when is a variant definition complete? Only when this particular variant is assigned to a company code. All right, so this completes the cycle of one variant. So a variant gets defined in the SAP system, gets the relevant information, and finally gets assigned to the relevant company code. So that is the meaning of your posting period variant. And when we were discussing this, I had made a statement that this posting period variant is an extension. Of course, this is my way of considering how these two variants are connected. You will not find this in any of the study content. But personally, I would define the posting period variant as an extension of this fiscal year variant. What is the role of a posting period variant? What does it do? The posting period variant controls the nature of the transaction. So what do I mean by this statement? To what kind of general ledger account am I actually carrying out the transaction? Is it an asset related transaction? Is it a material related transaction? Is it a vendor related transaction, customer related transaction, or a simple journal voucher? So this concept is called as your account groups and account types in a SAP. What are the different types of let me just add this. Just hold on for a moment. OK, what are the different types of plus A, T, K, M, S, and V? Just hold on. I think we saw all this when I showed you the posting period variant. So what does plus stand for? All accounts. All accounts, asset related, vendor related GL accounts, material GL accounts, general ledger, probably V stands for your contract accounts. If you are asked a question as regards how many account types are available within the SAP system, you will have to include include V also in your answer. Contract accounts. So your plus ADKMSV. All right. So these are the account types. So you also saw how I control that quarterly postings 1 to 3, 4 to 6. Remember? Right? And I also showed that is I allowed all the general ledger accounts to be transactable for that particular quarter. This I came up with when somebody asked me how this particular concept is handled in SAP. Quarterly closure of your books of accounts. How is it done? It is achieved through the posting period variant. and your standard is 0001. You take any literature regarding the SAP FI, you will always see the subject will be discussed taking the standard as an example. You can see the content talking from the 0001 company code perspective. Any literature, any topic you take on the SAP, normally, or rather, every time you will see that the information is related to the standard. Why is it always related to the standard? See, first and the foremost thing, what a consultant needs to know is how the standard system is constructed. What is available in the standard. Later, as per the requirement of my customer, I would design the SAP system. So even without knowing the standard product, somebody was asking me on the other day, how is this course useful? Because we are already taking the SAP HANA. This is exactly the reason. Even without you knowing the ECC side of SAP, probably understanding HANA would be little challenging. So basically, you would have to understand how the standard product is built. And then you need to expand your learning. You need to expand your knowledge by handling different kinds of a scenario in SAP. Clear? So now we saw the retained earnings account. What is this retained earnings account? So basically, what would we do at the year closure? When we finally close our books of accounts, what do? We actually carry forward the balances in our P&L account and transfer it to the new balance sheet as the profit or the loss, whatever the business has accumulated. So this activity is carried out in SAP by means of a GL account, which is called as a retained earnings account. So you remember you saw that X followed by 9 followed by 5 zeros, which is I showed you that it is a GL account created in your chart of accounts. So how is the standard being defined? You have some indicator called as X. So why only X? Why not A, B, C, D? It is a standard SAP definition. That's it. I'm nobody to challenge why it is X or why it is Y. Okay, it is defined as X and the standard product. So the whole globe is happy with the standard definition. So I need to be happy. So what is this 9 lakh? This 9 lakh is a simple general ledger account defined in your chart of accounts, just like any other rent account, salary account, whatever. However, the way you define that, you are also, you in the sense I'm talking about the consultant. The consultant will also define the general ledger account, the retained earnings general ledger account in the similar way. So 9 lakh is a standard followed in SAP. Just like you have the standard company code 0001, standard chart of accounts INT, standard fiscal year variance K4, V3, standard posting period variance 0001. And again, this particular general ledger account is a standard followed in SAP. So SAP, while a consultant is constructing the SAP product for another client, it need not necessarily mean that he's going to use the same general ledger account. Not required. He can create any other general ledger account based on the project requirement, and then he can create a general ledger. As far as the consultant is concerned, this GL account is the first general ledger account which is created by a consultant. Even before he goes about creating any other general ledger account, okay, he creates this as the first and the foremost general ledger. Okay. Let me just add another statement. Why this is the initial step? Because the system is designed in such a way that without creating this general ledger account, the system will not allow you to create any other, will not allow you to proceed. Okay. Okay. Now, our next concept, actually the account group should have been the earlier topic, but it is still okay. Now, what is this account group? What is this account group? This account group is, so I said we had dealt with the project which had 7,000 plus general ledger account. Suppose in that set of general ledger account, if I'm asked, how would I retrieve the balance of a, let us say, an asset account? So how do I get to that asset account? Suppose I want to know the balance of a plant and machinery account. How do I know? To which general ledger account I need to get the balance? So I need to have a scientific bifurcation or a scientific differentiation as to how I am going to group the similar character general ledger accounts. You can classify it in the way you want, as the customer wants. Suppose if you want to classify the general ledger accounts only as a balance sheet account or a profit and loss account, well and good. Even in that, suppose if you want to have a differentiation, like say, I want a group to be created for bank accounts, a different group of general ledger accounts for cash accounts, asset accounts, material accounts. So based on the requirement of the customer, your chart of accounts is broken up into certain groups. It is divided into those particular groups which the customer wants. Did you understand this? Grouping of the similar natured general ledger account in a specific group is your account groups. Clear? How does this account group look in SAP? How does it look like in SAP? Let me log on to the SAP system. I'm going to share my desktop. Yeah, Kunal?
No, sir, continue. I thought it was disabled. The screen was not visible, so that's why I.
Okay.
Now
So,
everything is visible.
yeah. Now, somebody asked me to show the login process. So, I'm assuming that you have all understood as to how to download this GUI because the steps were discussed by Madam on the other day. Okay. Now, this is the GUI, graphic user interface, or your logon pad. Now, how do I enter into the SAP system? Once when I download this GUI. I double click. I think you are also supposed to bring in the ER2 system as far as your instructions they go. I think I'm right. So once when you have the details of the system, okay, I think there is a process where you are supposed to go to the new items, go to connections, and then create the SAP system. Bring in the SAP system, right? I have already done that. So I have the ER2 system. I double click or I double click. It takes me into the SAP system where I'm supposed to give my personal details. So what are the personal details? The client ID on which I am supposed to work. I think by now you are clear about what is a client. All right. I give my user ID and I give my confidential password. And I log in. It brings me into the initial screen in SAP, which is called as the easy access. Now, these account groups, can they be seen by an end user? No. Why? Not required. As simple a reason as that. You have to know all the things what a consultant knows. Not at all required. Absolutely no. So I will take you into the consultant screen where I need to show you where you find the concept of account groups. Clear? So I have gone into the consultant screen or the IMG screen or the SPRO screen. I go to financial accounting. And once again, I'm repeating, you need not have to know this. It is not required for you to know. I'm just showing it to you just with an intent. At least you should know. That's it. General ledger accounting, master data, GL accounts. Go to GL account processing. Sorry. Go to see preparations. You see this account group. So on the other day, we defined what is a retained earnings account. Then you can read the documentation. Can you see this? The paper and the spectacles icon. That is your SAP IMG documentation. Click on that. It will give you a good explanation as to what these account groups are. Okay. You use the account groups to combine accounts according to a specific criteria. For example, P&L account group, asset account group, material account group, customer account group, vendor account group, bank account group. So like this, you design this or you create this account groups based on the requirement of the customer. Now I will take you into the account. So I execute. What is it going to ask me? Position. It is going to ask me for the chart of accounts. So these account groups are created at the chart of accounts level. This is an additional information. OK, so where is the starting point for you to create the account group? It is a chart of accounts. It is more than enough if you know this. OK, I give my standard int, enter. So why I am giving int is I wanted to show you how the standards are already created within the SAP system. See, int is already there as a standard SAP system. So is int broken down again in specific account groups? That is a question which I wanted to answer. Here, the answer is yes. int also is broken down into or categorized into these many account groups. As said, liquid funds, general material, P&L, reconciliation account. So this is actually this is already created by the SAP system. So you do not have to bother about it. Clear? Now let me see for GM00. What is GM00? GM00 is the chart of accounts which is assigned to GM01 company. I think we have already seen this. Correct? So GM00 is also following the same system. Absolutely no problem. Absolutely not a problem. You can bring in the standards into your chart of accounts, or just see there is some chart of accounts GN12. I don't know who has created. Based on the business requirement, he has categorized into current assets, current liability, direct expenses, whatever, because it is his business requirement. Okay, I would not be knowing the logic as to why he has categorized this. It is up to him. It is up to the consultant. Clear? So what is this from and to? So the current liability GL accounts start from GL account number 1 to GL account number 15. That is how I presume that his chart of accounts have got designed. So he has a chart of accounts starting from GL account number 1. Okay, and I don't know which GL account number it ends, but he has broken down his chart of accounts, or he has classified his chart of accounts as from GL account number 1 to GL account number 50. They fall under the current assets. 51 to 100, they fall under the fixed assets category. So like this, based on the business requirements, okay, you can have any kind of a categorization as far as your account groups is concerned. Clear? Now, if you had seen on the other day, I showed you some GL accounts. So this information of the account group is a integral part of the master data for any general ledger account. You will see this information in any general ledger account. The definition of a general ledger account, be it a balance sheet account, be it a bank account, be it a profit and loss account, be it an asset account, whatever. Each and every general ledger account designed by the consultant will have the information of an account group. So once an account group is created, which is mandatory, account groups must be created. Clear? And each and every general ledger account must be having this information. So whatever definitions I have told you till now, they are the essential creations in the SAP system to complete the company code creation. Without any one of this information, you cannot start transacting in your company code. All these items must be there. Clear? So this is where you see the account group. Now, where do you see this in the general ledger account? So the general ledger account is not the requirement of the consultant alone. The end user can also see the general ledger account. So where does he see the general ledger account? I simply go back, as I said, how you go back from the consultant screen to the end user screen is click on the left arrow mark situated next to the SAP logo. Now, what was the intent for me to come to the end user screen? I'm assuming a scenario where the end user wanted to see the general ledger account. See, the end user need not create, but at least he can know, right? There's no harm. Okay, there's no harm in knowing how a GL account looks like. He did not have to create a general ledger account. That is different. Accounting. Financial accounting. General ledger. Here I'm going a little slow because please get used to this activity because it is an end user activity. All right. Master records. GL accounts. So this is you're seeing some shortcuts, the transaction codes, FS00, FSP0, FSS0, out of which your FS00 is the bread and butter transaction code for a financial consultant. All right. Why is it a bread and butter? Because this is a place where he creates or okay, where the integral part of your accounting, your general ledger account, is created. So that is why I call it as the most frequently used transaction by an FI consultant or by I necessarily don't say the end user. OK, but for the consultant, it is the lifeline. So double click. I have simply double clicked on this line. OK. Now I have taken up some random general ledger account because I know that this is the general ledger account which is used for the bank general ledger account. How do I remember this? It is out of practice. You don't have to wonder. How do I remember this 113100 as the bank account? It is out of practice. Yeah. And this exactly is the general ledger account you see in your INT and your 0001 company code also. Yeah. Now I'm going to show you this in the company code GM01. OK. How do I see? I enter. I simply press enter. Now do you see it's a bank account? It is a balance sheet account. Can you see the account group here? The place where I'm moving the cursor. So it is something called as a required information. Now, why am I using the term required? Now, after this, we are going to proceed with another variant. So what are the two variants which we have already seen? Your fiscal year variant and your posting period variant. So now first let us concentrate on the account group. Now can you see I said this is one of the most important informations what the general ledger account master data should contain. Now do we see? I'll show you another general ledger account. See, this is a P&L account. It is a water expenses general ledger account 416300. See, that also has an account group. So in SAP, you cannot see a general ledger account without your account group. It will not allow you to save the data at all because this information is mandatory. It is required. Understood? So this account group forms an integral part of your general ledger account master data. So what is this? I am showing you the content of a general ledger account. As you can see so many details. Your 416300 is a general ledger account for water expenses. You can see it is falling under the group P&L statement accounts. It is a P&L account in nature. The short text is water. Scroll down. Water expenses. Clear? Can you see the same general ledger account in 0001? What is 0001? It is a standard SAP company code. It is not assigned to field status variant. Somebody has disturbed. Okay, not a problem. Okay. So the reason as to why I came to the screen is to show you that your account group is a very, very important information for any general ledger account. We also saw the retained earnings account, right? 9 lakh. Can you see? That also has an account group. What is this 9 lakh? It is a carry forward general ledger account. I have followed the standards of 0001 company code. So that is why you see the same information of 0001 even in GM01. Clear? Now, I will open the study content for you. And I will show you what is there in your study content. You could be having a different procedure for you to get hold of the course content. Okay, this is how I enter. You could be entering this in the form of a learning hub or something. Okay, I think Madam also explained how you need to get hold of this. So the first and the foremost, I'm going to skip this and go to that specific place. Opening and closing periods, financial statement version. Oh, can I? No. So we get into the general ledger accounting. Okay. Now we will see the place where we see the account groups. So we are familiar with the chart of accounts. Can you see the account groups? The number ranges of the accounts. So here you can see the graph having the cash, asset, material, P&L, liabilities. So based on the various business requirements, you can have a different set of account groups for one project and a different set of account groups for another project. It is not necessary that you'll have to follow the same set of your account groups. Now, what is this? The number ranges. When I showed you in SAP, you could see something as 1 to 50, 51 to 100, something and all you saw, right? That is your number range. So the GL accounts from 1 to 50 is your whatever, however you have categorized. So that is the number range. Okay. And this is the only slide which will talk to you about the accounts. We will come to the reconciliation accounts when we talk about your AP and AR. I will also talk to you about the GL creation, but first I wanted you to understand the flow. Clear? Now, our next, okay. Field status variant. Now, what is this field status variant? Now, I will take you to the SAP screen. Now, I want to enter a journal voucher. A simple journal voucher. Now, let us say for a small time vendor, you are paying some 400 rupees. You have purchased something, you pay him 400 rupees. And you need to record that entry. You need to enter that transaction in your SAP system. Just hold on. So what was our requirement? I had to enter some expense. I have just paid a small time vendor. Okay, some 400 rupees or 450 rupees. I need to enter the transaction. If I open that relevant screen, the place for me to enter the transaction. If you come down, this is the place where you enter the general ledger account, expense account, debit to cash or bank. Clear? That is the entry. For that simple entry, do you think I need to enter fields which I don't even know? what is an assignment, what is a trading partner, what is a business area. Do I have to enter all this? Internal order, financial budget item. I don't even know the meaning of this. Now, all these things, what are they called in SAP? They are called as fields. Now, for such a simple transaction, let me assume the SAP systems or the SAP system is designed in such a way where it will ask you to enter the data mandatorily, that you need to compulsorily enter data in the sales order field. What is a transaction? Some expense account debit to cash or bank. I've just paid 400 rupees. I need to enter that data. So what does the sales order information have any meaning to this transaction? So if let me assume that the SAP system is designed in such a way that just for this particular sale order, the user must enter for this particular transaction. I need to enter the sales order. Does it make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. So, but let me assume for this particular transaction, I want to make the text field. I need to enter the explanation for this transaction. The text field as mandatory. I need to enter the explanation for this. This makes sense. Correct? So you agree with me. So even if the text field is made mandatory for the end user to enter the information here, it makes sense. It is understandable. But does the same logic apply to the assignment field? I don't know anything about the assignment. I don't even know the meaning of assignment. So in this case, the user or the consultant, based on the requirement of the end user of that particular department, can design this particular data entry screen, or as a matter of fact, any screen in SAP through a field status variant. So first and the foremost, any field in SAP. So do I have a standard here also? I do have a standard field status variant defined as 0001. And you can also see that this particular standard field status variant is assigned to the standard company code 0001. That is the standard way your SAP is designed. How our GM01 is designed, I will come to it. I'll have a look at it a little later. But as far as the standard SAP is concerned, you need to know that 0001 is a standard field status variant created as a standard deliverable as far as the SAP product is concerned. Now, you could see so many fields, assignment, this, that, correct? Now, any field in SAP can be or it can be hidden. Any field in SAP can be suppressed, in the sense can be hidden from the end user. Okay. Can be The field can be only in the display mode. He cannot enter any data. It can only be displayed. Like you saw. Can you see this? Company code is only display. I cannot change. I cannot delete this. So the screen is designed in such a way that some fields are displayed. Some fields can be suppressed. Required or mandatory. So as I said, some fields can be made, like I told you the typical example. For a journal voucher transaction, you can make the text field as mandatory. So the end user for each and every transaction should enter the explanation for the transaction. For example, and or the field, the data entry can be optional. If I want to provide that field with an information, I can. If I do not want to, I may not. OK, SAP will still save the data. Even if I do not enter. So as you can see, the standard arrangement in the SAP system is all the fields are optional. This assignment field is optional. Your text field is optional. Your tax jurisdiction code is optional. Your reference field is optional. All right. So it does not make any field as mandatory. Clear? So the whole product of SAP, actually all the fields are made optional. So the end user may enter the data or may not enter the data. That is up to the end user, or that is how up to the business. Clear? So this is how this is the concept of your field status variant. Now, where do you see this in SAP? Do you see this in the end user screen? You do not see this in the end user screen. You see this definition only in the consultant's screen. I will just show it to you. So I'm in the end user screen. I move on to the consultant screen. Just hold on. I will just check if I have completed everything. OK, this is okay. Define field status variants, assign. So I will go in the, as I said, all the variants should follow 3 steps. One is a defining of the variant itself. The second one is providing the variant with the relevant information. And the third and the most important activity is assigning that particular variant to the company code. So let us see to which field status variant, or if you want to read the explanation, you can please go read it. or I'm not very sure if your data is locked by GTTC. That's okay. Not see your 0001 must be defined to field status 000. It'll be something like this. Okay, it'll be something like this. But somebody has that is exactly the reason why we always ask the users not to even venture out to the standards. See here, it is removed. Somebody has accidentally removed without knowing the impact. Now let us see GM01. See, GM01 is assigned to the field status variant GM01. Similarly, you could have seen if somebody had not disturbed the standards, you could have also seen 0001 company code being assigned to 0001 field status variant. Now, if you want to see how the 0001 field status variant looks like, define first and foremost. If you want to see the explanation, you can read the SAP explanation. Can you see how exhaustive the explanation is? Yeah. And the most important is assigning of the company code to the field status view, or as a matter of fact, anyway. Now I wanted to show you see ready hidden for the GL accounts. Let me show you those terms at least. Fine, not a problem. See, I'll get into showing you the place where you can see the field status variants. So it is executing that option. Just hold on, the system is opening. I think I may have to relog in. Let me just check. Nothing seems to be. I'll exit out. Let me just see, or I will stop the transaction. And another additional information. I stop the transaction. Again, go back to SPRO. Go back to the same place, the same option. So we were supposed to see the contents of that field status variant 0001 or your GM0. Somebody is using the same transaction somewhere else. Just give me a moment. Just hold on. You do not Please do not try this. Please do not try all this. All right. Don't ever try to do all this. Why isn't this opening? Hmm? I'll open this session just to wait. I don't know why only this particular option is not working. This transaction is not working. I'll open this session in SPRO. Just give me 2 minutes. And not, I don't know as to why this particular transaction is not working. Anyway, I will. Don't know why only this particular transaction is not working. Anyway, Kunal, I think we can take a break for 5 minutes.
Yes, sir, sure. Sir, we can rejoin by 12:12.
Sure, sure, Kunal, we can do that. Yeah, Kunal, I think we can start.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let me just open the SAP system. See how it's working. I totally logged off. Let me see. But I can also enter this in the form of a transaction code. But I wanted to show it to you on the menu option. Now let me see if this is working. Only this transaction is getting locked. I don't know why. Okay, I'll do one thing. I will try to open this same thing in a transaction by means of a transaction. So what is a transaction code? A shortcut key for you to enter into a specified transaction. So OBC4 is the transaction code for our activity. What is our activity? We wanted to see the content, how the content of the field status variant 0001 or GM01, whatever. Enter. Oh, it is not taking me into the spots. Hmm. I don't know why it is not working. Somebody is accessing this. Somebody is accessing this. Okay, there seems to be a problem only with this particular transaction. Don't worry, when it comes up, I will show. But now it is enough for you to know that I control the transactional screen while the end user is entering the data. I design the screen. I, meaning the consultant, designs the screen to meet the requirements of the end user by gathering the requirement, whether the field should be suppressed or hidden or whatever, whether the field should be displayed only, whether the field is made mandatory for the end user to enter, or if the field is optional. And this optional is the standard SAP setup. All the fields are in nature optional. Clear? Let me go and check. So this is the purpose of the field status variant. How you would design the end user transactional screens. Okay. Now, so we have discussed quite a few topics. Number one, chart of accounts. Number two, number three, fiscal year variant. Number four, posting period variant. Number five, number six, number seven. So till now you can see that we have discussed 7 important basic building blocks, and we are yet to cover some more. So these are the components which completes the definition of a company code. What do I mean by complete the information of a company code? The company code should contain all the informations. Now, all this information is the 7 things what you have seen till now. They are the most mandatory things what a company code should and must be assigned to even before you even try to enter any kind of a transaction into that company code. Yeah. So now see the job of a consultant. He needs to design all these variants based on the requirements of the customer, then assign each one of them to the company code. Clear? Now, what does the study content show? Okay, I'll just come to the GL account segments. Just hold on. So assuming that the consultant has done all the major settings, he has created all the variants, he has created all the organizational entities, and he has assigned each one of the organizational entity to the company code, in our case GM01. Let us try to understand what is the next term, document structure. What do you mean by a document? Next important thing is what is this new concept of document types and document number ranges? What is a document? Can also be referred to as a transaction in SAP. What is a document? A document is nothing but a transaction. Journal voucher, customer receipt, sales invoice, purchase invoice, payment, credit memos, asset capitalization, asset depreciation, all these things, all these transactions are referred to as a document in SAP. If you see the standard SAP system, here also, are there any standard document types which are already being defined in the SAP system? Yes. If I show you the place of the document types in the consultant screen, you will see that there are standard document types already being designed in the SAP system and also accepted globally. In my project experience, I have never created a new document type because there is no requirement. SAP has already got a exhaustive list of your document types, taking care of all the requirements, all the nature of transactions. It could be your asset debit, asset credit, customer debit, customer credit, vendor debit, vendor credit, material debit, material credit, whatever, reversal, journal voucher reversal, journal voucher posting. So what are the standards you see in SAP? These are a few examples of the standard. So as you can see, I have just restricted myself to the common transactions which we are going to see. The things are, I'm just laying a foundation for what we are going to see in the few sessions. Okay, now that we have understood what a document is, I have also shown you, I have also listed out the standard document types. You also have we have already seen this journal voucher. Where did we see? Anybody remembers? FB50 was a transaction code. Similarly, you also saw the customer invoice, the vendor invoice, FB60, FB70. When did we discuss this? We discussed when I made a point saying that the end user cannot enter the transactions in one particular place. He has to navigate to different areas based on the nature of transactions, what he needs to carry out. So at that point in time, I had told you about a couple of transaction codes, FB50, FB60, FB70. Remember? So whenever, now what do I mean by this? So whenever the user enters a journal voucher, you can see a document type of the nature SA being created within the SAP system automatically. Clear? So you don't have to bother about the document types, which is the document type that I'm going to enter, or what is the document type that is going to be created. You don't have to worry about it. SAP does these things automatically. How? I will show you. When I get into the document entry, I will show you how SAP automatically generates this document types. Clear? All you need to know is what is a document type? A document type is nothing but a transaction in SAP. Based on the nature of transaction, SAP generates the document types automatically. The user need not have to worry about the document type which is getting generated, or rather how it is going to get generated. It is good to know fact that what is a document type. See, suppose he is entering journal vouchers. he should be at least aware as to what SA is the document type which is getting created because of his activity. How SA is not, he may not be mandatorily knowing this. It is not required also. It is not necessary. Okay, all he is bothered about is I need to complete my work. That's all. What is happening in the background? He may or may not know. He need not know. If he is interested, he may know. If he is not, he may not. Clear? Now, how this is getting generated? Now, why do you think SAP has given these many? It is not only this list. This is SAP has got many and many more document types, but I have restricted myself to only our area. What we are going to see in the near future. So that is why I have just left it only to our FI. Okay. Now, why do you think SAP has given you so many document types? Now just imagine a scenario where your Tata and Sons or any other big business. Now I need to pull out asset related transactions. Only asset related transactions. I need to see the documents. I need to see the transactions. Clear? So I can restrict myself to only these two document types and pull out the transactions pertaining to only these two kinds of transactions. Because my requirement is only that. What do I do with the customer invoice and the vendor invoice? I don't have to do anything. All I want to know is I wanted to have a look at the asset related postings. That's all. Clear? So this is exactly the reason as to why SAP has provided you with this kind of a facility. Now, as an end user, how would you restrict yourself to pull out the information related to only that particular transactions? I gave you an example, only asset related transactions, correct? Now, how do I, as an end user, know how to pull it out? Because this is a typical requirement of an end user. So these things, these minimal things, the end user must know. Or he wants to pull out only the journal vouchers, only the SA document type. Because he's not interested in asset, customer, vendors, no material, he's not interested. He needs to pull out a report pertaining to only the journal vouchers. So all he needs to do is retrieve data only to this particular document type, SA. Did you understand the business requirement? Clear? Now let me go to the SAP system. I will log off. I will log into the system again. So we were trying to understand the requirement for the end user to retrieve transactions pertaining to his area only. So I am assuming a business scenario where the end user would be interested to pull out only the journal vouchers. So how would SAP facilitate the end user? Counting. As you can see, please observe that I am in the end user screen, not in the consultant screen. Financial accounting, general ledger. As you can see, I'm a little slow in especially the easy access screen because that is a place where you would be actually spending more and more time. Then I'll have something called as an information system, or I can go to account, or I can go to document. So what is my requirement? I need to pull out the transactions pertaining to the journal vouchers only. So document FB03, another bread and butter transaction for the FI consultant or for even for the end user. Double click. Why none of the transactions are working? It's taking so much of time. So I would have to pull out the company code for which I need to pull out the information. And I can also tell the financial year for which I want to pull it out. I will come to this. What is this document number? Document list. You can see the transaction code FB03 right top corner. Now, do you see that SAP has given me a provision for me to enter the specific documents only, specific document types. So here, if I give SA and execute, so SAP would pull out the information pertaining to only SA document type for the company code GM0 for the year 2023, 2023, because I have given the year in the initial screen and I execute. As you can see, I can enter a wide range of document types also. See, from document type to document type. Correct? Now I will tell you how you need to pull out the data, how you need to pull out the document types for more than one document type. Suppose I want to have asset related as well as journal vouchers. How do I pull it out? See, has it pulled out? Has the report pulled out only the SA document types? See, I don't see any other document type at all. In the company code GM01, I have pulled out all the data pertaining to the financial year 2023, and I have pulled out the transactions, the journal voucher transactions only. Now, if I want to pull out the asset related transactions also, asset related capitalization, let me say asset capitalization along with SA, I want to pull out. Okay. Now what do? I need to give only two. From and to, it will give you a huge range. I cannot say from A to Z. So what I'll try to do is I'll try to mention only two kinds of transactions. So I would enter SA and I want asset related AA, asset capitalization. And I click on execute and execute the option. I've given two kinds of transactions. Please concentrate on this because this is more related to your all RSA. There are no AA transaction type, I guess. Let me change. Let me give DR or even DZ or something. Instead of AA, I would give DR. Okay. See, do you see a combination of both your journal vouchers and your customer invoices? So this is how the user can draw a report or can pull out the information pertaining to his area. Now, maybe after we break for lunch and come back, we are going to see, just make a mental note of this. See your SA document number. On top, you can see the document numbers. It has a different number. Can you see? Basically, your standard document number is 10 digits big or 10 digits long as far as SAP document number is concerned. Slowly, I'm getting into another topic. Document types we have seen, document number. But I have not shown you from the consultant's perspective. I'm going to show you. Clear? Now, you can see that all your journal vouchers, they start with 10. Clear? But whereas what is this DR? I said customer invoices. Your customer invoices, they start with 18. Just make a mental note of this. I'm going to talk to you in detail about this document numbers and how SAP addresses that issue. Okay. Clear? So each of the document type will have a unique document number. Okay. Now we also saw how the end user can pull out the reports pertaining to a specific transaction. Clear? So what is a document? A document is nothing but a transaction. Now, let me show you the document types. We discussed a few document types, right? AA, SA, AF, okay, DR, DZ. I will take you to the consultant screen. Financial accounting, global settings. You see document, you see document types, define document types. You can read the documentation. It will be having the same information as to what I said. Is a Now let us see. Define document types. Can you see AA, AF, AN, DR, DZ, whatever you see, they are the standard SAP document creations. See, somebody has created this. This is not, you will not see this in the standard SAP system. All right. See, CJ, you will not see this. Okay. But whatever I have picked, AF, AN, AB, DA, DG, DR, DZ, KA, KG, KZ, KR. All these are your standard document types. You can also see SA. So whatever I have highlighted, whatever I have ticked in this box, they are the examples of a few document types which we are going to come across. Clear? Now let me also see if the field status is available. Let me hope it opens at least this time. Why is there a problem only in this transaction? Let me give it some more time. In the meantime, students, please just take a break for 2 minutes. Think over whatever has happened and come back to me with questions. Yeah, finally it opened. Now I'll go to 0001. You see? Now, what is there in 0001? I'll select this. I'll pick this. Go to field status groups. Now, these are also the standards G001, G003. I have in my SAP career, I have not gone about creating field status groups. I have created field status variants, but not the field status groups. Now, where do you see that option? Suppress, display, optional, required. Where do I see? I double click. Can you see? Here, what does it say? See, for the text field is a required entry, whereas the assignment number is an optional entry. Now, all these fields are suppressed. You do not see where in your G003. What is this G003? This is your field status variant. This is your field status group. for the material consumption accounts. Let me take up for G001. Let me just check. See, this is a required entry. I will tell you now, if at all you want to enter a journal voucher, will you be able to see the screens, invoice reference, hedging, collective invoice, reference specification 1, 2? Do you see all this? How do I prove that you don't see all this? I open another session, or do I have 2 sessions? No, I have only 1 session. I go to the journal voucher entry screen. Do I see any field like say you have hedging, invoice reference, collective invoice? Do I see all these fields here? You do not see because all are suppressed. All are suppressed. Yeah. This is how you actually customize your working screen. How a consultant customizes the user screen based on the project requirement. He actually makes the settings in the field status variant. So in the field status variant, you have a concept called as field status groups. Now, where do you see this field status groups? So this information also is a mandatory information as far as the master list of a or master general ledger account is concerned. So you take up the master of a specific general ledger account, you will definitely see a reference to the field status group, because the field status variant is already assigned here. The field status group 0001 or your GM01, the assignment or the connection between the company code and the field status variant is done here. Actually, it should have been like this. This is your perfect SAP settings. Now, if you see GM01 company code, this is already got assigned to GM01. Yes, I will save the data. All right. Now, what is there in GM01? What is GM01? It is a field status variant assigned to company code GM01. I have maintained the same names just to maintain the uniformity, just to maintain the naming discipline. I have used the same naming convention. This is typically what happens even in your live scenario. Your names will be very, very uniform. See, field status variant for GM01. I select that, go to field status group, and you can see. So now, based on the requirement of GM01, company code GM01, I would normally tweak this SAP system or design the SAP system based on this, based on the requirement. Now I want to make the cost center as a required entry. So this is how I, based on the requirements of the company code GM01, I designed the transactional screen in SAP also. Clear? Anyway, I'm not going to save this data. So did you see the connection? Did you understand the connection? Kunal, now I think no new questions. The published 11. Okay.
Yes, sir.
We can create type. What type? I'm not able to understand. Please rephrase your question. No. Somebody has asked me if we need to, the user should mention what kind of a document type I'm entering into. My first sentence was the end user need not bother about the document type. He need not have to enter the document type. SAP automatically picks up the document type. I will come back to this question. I'll come back to the Q&A section after I show you this. How does SAP pick up the document types? Interesting, right? I go to the journal voucher. Now do you see the document type is automatically picked up? I do not have to enter any data. I need not have to bother about remembering the document type at all. SAP is automatically picking up the document type. I will show you even for the customer invoice or the vendor invoice. I'll go to AR, go to the invoice. Do you see DR? The place where I've highlighted. Can you see DR? So what is DR? Customer invoice. Did you happen to see me enter DR? No. SAP has automatically picked up the document type based on the nature of transaction, what the user wants to carry out. I hope I have answered that question. Yeah, let me go back to the Q&A section. Do we have to remember the general ledger account number? Probably you may have to put in an effort to remember the general ledger account. See, it may also be, you may take some time, not a problem. And I will also tell you how you can have a look at the general ledger accounts, how you can select. Suppose you don't remember a general ledger account, how you need to remember. How we can create a company code? Please do not venture into this area. Creation of a company code. I will definitely show you. I am not, I do not want to hide this information, but please know that you will not be given access to the screen at all. I have no issues in showing, but that is not your concern at all. Okay, but I will show you too, not a problem. The question is also not wrong. In reference to how do we identify the is mandatory or not? Just you will know when you're doing the data entry. If at all a field is made mandatory, SAP will not save the data until and unless you provide information into the required field. All right. Probably at this moment, things could be a little hazy. Not to worry. I will tell you how the required field works. Can we customize account groups? Yes, you can definitely customize the account groups. Username. I think probably for you to get the SAP credentials, you may have to still wait for some more time. It will be released. You'll be getting a mail in this regard. This is for the question. Somebody has asked me for the username and password. You may have to wait till you get the mail. Okay. Posting period variant practically. Okay. So what is a posting period variant? In the posting period variant, please remember two things. One is forget creating a posting period variant. You do not have to create a posting period variant unless and until you convert yourself into a consultant. You will not be given the opportunity to create a posting period variant. First point. Second point, as I was explaining the posting period variant, what does it help you with? The posting period variant basically controls two different informations. What are these two information? One is the nature of the general ledger account to which you are carrying out the transaction. Is it asset related transaction or is it material related transaction? Is it a journal voucher? Is it a customer? Is it a vendor related transaction? So basically your posting period variant categorizes what nature of transactions you are carrying out. You saw that account type plus AD KMSV. I was explaining that. And also somebody asked me how you would control the timeline. Suppose you want to make an entry only during that specific time. What in SAP would help you? The posting period variant also decides to what period, to which month you are carrying out the processing, you are carrying out the data entry. I hope I was clear. Posting period. If you want me to show it practically, I will definitely show it to you once we come back from our lunch break. Kunal, I think we can break for lunch. Hi, Kunal. Kunal, you're there?
Sir, just hold on, sir.
Sure,
Students,
sir.
when we are sending you the classes link, we know our IT team is working how to mark your attendance. We are clearly saying your attendance is marked, but still you are repeatedly asking the same question. Please don't repeatedly ask the question for attendance. It will mark automatically by the team. So you can continue with your classes.
I think it's almost lunch break, Kunal. We'll break for lunch.
Sure, sir. I think 11 to 1 was class. Now we can end up the session for now.
Correct. Correct. The next
And we
session
can
would be
continue it with by the 2 to 4.
correct. Correct. Kunal. Yeah.
So student, for right now, we are ending the session. Now we will again meet you after the lunch at 2 o'clock.